so much.
Usia 14 tahun, dia bisa jadi mucikari anak usia 16 tahun.
Menutup kompleks lokalisasi atau pelacuran terbesar di Asia Tenggara.
Seorang anak usia 14 tahun, dia bisa jadi mucikari anak usia 16 tahun.
Oke.
Nah, itu saya telusuri. Loh, ini kaitannya sama lokalisasi, dia tinggal di situ gitu.
This video was made based on an article that researched sexual exploitation and violence against prostitute children in East Java, Indonesia. In this video, we will see how children struggle to survive in the prostitution business Indonesia, where this condition is very challenging because of their weak position, their subordinate status in Indonesian patriarchal ideology, and their weak position as children facing adults, as well as their low socioeconomic position.
Child exploitation is a bitter reality that still occurs today. In the midst of the demographic bonus period, Indonesian children should achieve the best right and living facilities so that they are ready to welcome the future. However, unfortunately, there are still many children who do not get their rights, such as being beggars and homeless, and even experience exploitation. The United Nations defines prostitution of children as the act of engaging or offering the service of a child to perform sexual act for money or other consideration with that person or any other person. Meanwhile, the Convention on the Rights of the Child Optional Protocol on the Sale of Children, Children Prostitution, and Children Pornography defines the practice as the act of obtaining.
There are several factors that can lead to the exploitation and abuse of children prostitutes in Indonesia. Many studies have emphasized economic factor as the main drive of sexual exploitation and abuse of prostitute children. According to United Journal of Sexual Exploitation and Violence of Prostitute Children, economic factors include family poverty, economic difficulties, job hunting, high income from prostitute business, and a lack of option to support oneself financially. This is often considered to be the main reason why children are exploited and abused in prostitution. Also, it is clear that economic factors are the main reason for child exploitation and abuse. They are not the only deciding factor. Previous studies have shown that in addition to economic factors, there are also social, structural, and cultural factors that affect the exploitation and abuse of prostitutes. And also thrive the several non-economic factors such as the low level of education of prostitutes, the patriarchal social structure that tends to place women only as objects, the marginalization of the role of women in society, the stigma against girls who are not virgin or late marriage, the cultural view that having sex with a child would make a person stay young and avoid sexual illness, as well as a culture of from Indonesia society.
The impact of sexual abuse on children, particularly sexual exploitation and violence experienced by prostitute children, continues into adulthood. In the early years after trauma, victims describe their experience as chaotic and stressful. Only when certain events or turning points occur with the help of social support and interpersonal connections can victims of sexual abuse evaluate their lives and realize the possibility of change. Sexual abuse of children, including child prostitution, can lead to long-term depression in adulthood from prostitute children who cannot cope with depression. Suicide, a possible outcome, although there is no report data on prostitute children in Indonesia who have committed suicide.
Now I will speaking about the laws related to this event. Number 1 is Article 18.2 of Law Number 35 of 2014. Indonesian laws regulate child protection and imposes penalties on those who commit violence against children. Perpetrators of violence against children can be sentenced to imprisonment and fines depending on the severity of the violence committed. Number 2 is Article 76C of Law Number 25 2014, which states the following: everyone is prohibited from placing, allowing, committing, ordering others to commit, or participating in violence against children. The offender may be sentenced to a maximum of 3 years and 6 months in prison and or a fine of up to 72 million rupiah. If the child suffers severe injuries, the offender can be sentenced to a maximum of 5 years in prison and or a fine up to 100 million rupees.